Gator Dave, Gator Dave, Gator Dave.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. Ready to get cracking on week 7, man. We're over the hump. We're now into the second half of the season. So Bets Utopia, number one location for all things sports betting. Please make sure you subscribe, like, follow us, and because we really want those numbers up, guys. We want the numbers up. We love it. We love it. We appreciate everybody's participation. All those that are rolling today. We love you guys. Live shows on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. in time for those wagers to get in for that Thursday night game. So we do want to send our prayers out to the folks in Florida, in that state, about to get hit by a Hurricane Milton. It's going to spank them pretty bad. It's going to be a very catastrophic event, unfortunately. So prayers go out to all the folks in Florida there for sure. So rough week for Gator Dave last week. He had 2 weeks in a row where he kind of jumped up on you, but you took it back. You took 2 games back from me, man. So it was pretty decent week there, Mike, for you. But my gut was telling me, but I didn't bet, right? My Gators actually won a game. However, the coach laid down in the second half and played like he, couldn't lose the game. And we played so conservative. We didn't score anything and gave up 10. Thus, one of the many reasons why Billy Napier is gone before long. So throw up those numbers, Mike. What do we got here?
Yeah, so you went, 5-7 last week?
7.
Yeah,
7-7.
So not great, not terrible. We can do better.
We can.
All right, let's move into it.
All right, let's do this. So we're going to start with one of those off-the-wall games. We're going Northern Illinois at BYU. Bowling Green getting 3 points here. Over-unders 47.5. Northern Illinois is obviously 3-2. Bowling Green's 2-3. Northern Illinois is obviously the darling that beat Notre Dame, but then turned around and lost to Buffalo and NC State. Bowling Green has big wins over Akron and Fordham. Powerhouses there. They've lost to Penn State, Texas A&M, and Old Dominion. So NIU's at 3-1-1 against the spread, and 2-0 against the spread away, Mike. And this one's away. Bowling Green is 3-2 against the spread. The underdog has covered the spread in each of Bowling Green's last 4 games. So the underdog's NIU. It'll be tough to move the ball on Northern Illinois. They got a great defense. You've seen them. And so I don't think Bowling Green's going to be able to cover this. And I'll take those 3 points. Give me Northern Illinois and 3 points there, Mike. What do you think?
I'm on the other side here, Dave. I'm on the other side. Bowling Green, it's one of those situations. 2-3. Northern Illinois is the better team. Beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Why are they the underdog in this situation? I don't know. But I do know that those teams that you mentioned that Bowling Green lost to, and the reason that their record is at Penn State, lost by 7. They were actually winning at halftime against Penn State. At Texas A&M the following week, 2 weeks later, lost by 6. Following week, Old Dominion at home, letdown game, lost by 3 against Old Dominion, and then they were able to get the win last week against Akron. I like Bowling Green in this situation. Northern Illinois' running back, Ontario Brown, he left the last game with an injury, so that's a big loss for them. I believe his backup in the game also left with an injury, so that'll be interesting to see which one of them, if not both, are healthy for this one. So give me Bowling Green, Dave, which is something that I did not think I was going to say on this show this year.
Bowling Green. All right, Mike, go for it. What you got next?
All right, next up, we got North Texas going down, taking on Florida Atlantic. I just like North Texas's offense. They're sitting at 4-1 right now. 2-3 is what the Owls are sitting at. North Texas offense, it's exactly the typical thing that you would think of when you think North Texas. It's air raid, pass, pass, pass. They're averaging almost 350 yards a game through the air, over 500 total yards as an offense. I think it's just going to be too much for Florida Atlantic, and I hate to be the bearer of what you mentioned with the Hurricane, but a lot of these guys that play for Florida Atlantic have family in Florida, so you know,
Worried.
is their mind gonna be focused on the game? Um, I think that's going to be hard to do. So unfortunately, there's going to be a trend for some of my picks tonight in terms of fading teams that are kind of in that storm path or are playing out of Florida because they do have a lot of families that are up and down either on the East Coast or West Coast or the Central Florida area. Um, so is their mind going to be focused on this week, or there's always that coming into play. So for that reason, I'm going with North Texas and that pass offense. What you got, Dave?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Mike. North Texas, 6.5 favorite there, 58.5 on the over under. North Texas 4-1, and like you said, Florida Atlantic is 2-3. So North Texas did lose to Texas Tech by 27, but they won all their other games and basically scoring like 40 points a game. North Texas is 3-2 against the spread. FAU's 2-3. Quarterback for North Texas, 66%, 1643 on yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Their running backs are averaging between 6 and 8 yards a carry. Their offense is ranked 8th in the nation. And Florida Atlantic, their offense is 105th, so they're not going to score. Florida Atlantic's failed to cover the spread in each of its last 4 home games against conference opponents. Too much North Texas offense, Mike. I'm going to go with North Texas to cover those 6.5 points.
Right on. Right on.
All right. Next up, let's go out west. We got Oregon State of the Pac-2. They're favored by 3 points against Nevada. Over under is 47.5. Oregon State is 4-1. Nevada is only 2-4. Oregon State's only lost to Oregon by 35. They got wins at Colorado State, Purdue, and San Diego State. All teams with losing records. Nevada has beaten the fabulous Eastern Washington and a Troy team that's not done well this year. They've lost to San Diego State. Oregon State's 2-3 against spread. Nevada, this is the one that made me kind of leery. Nevada's 4-2 against the spread. But I look, Nevada's lost 12 of its last 14 games at home. Repeat, lost 12 of its last 14 games at home. The road team has covered the spread in 4 of Oregon State's last 5 games. Boom, give me the Beavers to cover the points. What do you think, Mike?
I'm with you. Nevada's defense is not great. They have a quarterback controversy going on right now. They benched the great General Booty. He's been benched the last couple games, so they officially gave the green or the white flag to him. He's going to be the backup going into this one. I just think Oregon State's rushing attack is going to be too much for this Nevada team. I'm with you. Give me the Beavers on the road here.
All right. Next up, what you got?
All right, next up we got Washington State making the trip to Fresno. High total in this one, sitting at 61.5. Washington State's the 3.5 point favorite. I like Washington State in this spot. I think they got something to prove. Mikey Keene is good for Fresno State, but he's had issues with turnovers this year. I think he has 6 interceptions, only 7 touchdowns. So a little bit of an issue there, in my opinion. Washington State's offense is absolutely clicking right now. Their defense is a little suspect, which is why you see that total sitting where it is. But I think Washington State will be able to pull away in the second half and get it done here. Who you got, Dave?
Yeah, I'm in the boat with you on this one, Mike. I mean, Washington State lost to Boise State by 3 touchdowns, but Boise State's for real, big time this year. My pick to go into the playoff for sure. They've beaten Washington, they've beaten Texas Tech. Neither one of those teams are bad at all, both with winning records. Fresno got hammered by UNLV and Michigan early. Both teams are 3-2 against the spread. Quarterback for Washington State, love that guy, John Mateer. Granted, he's only throwing at 58%, but he's got 1,429 yards, 13 TDs, and only 5 interceptions. And he's the leading rusher for the team at 453 yards and 5 TDs. I mean, I haven't got a chance to watch one of those games yet, but, man, I hope it falls in there somewhere where I get a chance to look at it. Now, their offense is ranked 10th in the nation, which is pretty damn good. And like you said, Fresno, I mean, they're extremely mediocre for the teams that they're playing. Mickey Keene's done, he's thrown up some yards, but he has thrown 6 interceptions. The Cougars, they just got a better team this season. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think that offense is going to take control of the game. So give me the Cougs to take care of business and cover the 3.5 points, Mike.
Right on. Moving right along here.
Let's go. Let's go to the ACC. We're going to Syracuse -4.5 at NC State. So Cuse is 4-1, and NC State is 3-3. Syracuse had a comeback win last week against UNLV, which is pretty cool. Their only loss has been to Stanford, which is kind of beaten expectation in terms of their talent and ability that we've seen this year. NC State, they lost last week to Wake. Woo! They really stink. They did beat NIU, but lost to Clemson and Tennessee. So Cuse comes in at 2-3 against the spread. NC State is, Mike, 0-6 against the spread. Now you might, I don't know what you got on this one. It might be one of those where you're going, man, maybe they beat the spread this time, but I don't think so. Orangemen, they got Kyle McCord, great quarterback, 18-14 on yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Running back Allen at 358, 3 TDs. Their offense is ranked 14th in the nation, defense 61st. NC State, extremely disappointing this year. We know how it is, what's going on. I mean, McCord, not McCord, what's the kid's name? The transfer in got hauled off the field last week.
Grayson McCall.
McCall got hauled off last week. So Baylor will be starting. He's at 65%, 740 yards. Their offense is ranked 106 in the nation, not too hot, and the defense 82nd. It's just not their year this year. Very disappointing. We saw them totally collapse last week against Wake in the fourth quarter. I think the Orange are going to roll in the game to a bad NC State team, and give me Syracuse here, Mike, to take care of business.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just going to be a rough year for NC State. Listen to this schedule. I mean, they are already 3-3. They've played every single week this year. Their first bye isn't until after next week. It's unbelievable. First bye is going to be week 9. That's crazy.
I mean, some teams we'll be on our second. Florida's getting their second bye in 2 weeks. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Insane. Terrible scheduling. But wow. You said it. Syracuse, Kyle McCord, he is clicking with a second chance there at the Orange. Perfect fit, it seems like. I think they're going to go down to NC State. I don't think they're going to really have any problems. I see this one as like a 31-17 type game. So I'm with you. Give me Q's to get it done here.
All right. Got it.
All right,
next.
Moving on.
West again, baby.
Heading out west. You picked this one, didn't you?
I did. I like this game, man.
It's gross. It's gross, Dave. It's
good, Mike. It's good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. There's something to it. There's something to it.
I hit the last one right, though.
All right. I mean,
Go ahead. Tell me why Arizona's going to win, Mike. I know, but I hit the last one of these
I'm
that
just,
we really don't have a name for.
I'm just saying.
I know. Yeah.
I do like Arizona in this game, Dave. I think they upset. Well, I think they cover. They have a shot at upsetting BYU and Provo. They've already upset Utah earlier this year, so they're not going to be scared about the altitude going to Utah. It's not a distraction for this Arizona team. They're passing the ball great. Wide receiver McMillan, he is an absolute stud, future first round pick. I think they're going to do enough to stop BYU. BYU is having an issue. Yes, they are ranked. Yes, they've won games. But if you look at the numbers, it's absolutely atrocious in terms of offense and offensive production. Um, let me just pull up some for you real quick here, Dave. Their leading wide receiver, they have two of them. Now, granted, these guys have 15 receptions each on the year, over 230 yards for one, over 330 yards for the other. The next leading receiver, 54 yards, 8 catches. Next leading receiver, 8 catches, 100 yards. There's not a lot of offensive firepower past those two wide receivers. Same with rushing the football. They don't have a single guy rushing the football at 5 yards per carry. Not one running back has over 100 total rushing yards on the entire season, and that includes a guy that has had 29 attempts, 21 attempts, 21 attempts, 18 attempts, 16 attempts, 12 attempts. They cannot get the run game going. I think that's going to be the problem in this one. I think Arizona's going to be able to find offense early and often. Give me the Wildcats here in a potential upset. Dave, who you got?
Not gonna happen there in where do they play? Provo? Is that where they play this thing?
Yeah,
BYU.
Provo, Utah.
Yeah, Provo, Utah. So Arizona did beat Utah. They're not gonna escape again with another Utah team. But they lost to Texas Tech. They lost to Kansas State. BYU has beaten Kansas State by a lot. They've beaten SMU, which we both like, to probably upset your Hurricanes in the ACC championship. The Wildcats are 1-4 against the spread, Mike. 1-4 against the spread. Granted, you rattled off some numbers on the offensive side for BYU. Granted, but they have a quarterback, Mike. Reslov, 61%, 1,206 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he's the leading rusher at 156 yards. Granted, they're not rushing the ball up and down the field. Their defense, Mike, ranked 20th in the nation. And you heard, that they've beaten KSU, SMU. So they played some good teams, Mike. The Wildcats like to air it out. BYU, pass defense, bad to the bone, Mike. Bad to the bone. You can mess this one up. BYU has found a way to win, covering every game. They're going to win this game, and they are going to cover the 4 points, Mike. Give me the Cougs.
All right. I like it. I like the enthusiasm with that. That's good.
Let's go.
Bringing that energy. What you got next?
Baby. Let's go to that team that the Gators played last week. We're going Cincinnati at UCF. UCF licking their wounds. They are favored by 3 points. Over-under is 58.5. Both teams coming at 3-2. Cincinnati lost last week to Texas Tech, who's been playing pretty well. They only lost by 3, and there was a lot of turnovers. They lost to Pitt by 1 early, and we know Pitt is undefeated. They beat Houston 34-0. They beat Miami of Ohio. UCF lost their last 2 games to real teams, Colorado and the Florida Gators. They got a beat. They beat TCU by 1 point. So Cincinnati 2-1 against the spread. UCF 3-2. Sorsby, the quarterback at Cincy, 66%, 1481, 12 TDs. Running back Connor, 413, 6.2. Pryor, 239, 10.4. Offense ranks 12th in the nation, baby. UCF comes in. Jefferson can't hit the broadside of the barn. Harvey, the running back, has tailed it down a little bit the last couple of games. Their offense ranked 11th, but that was before they played the mighty Gators. So their defense is ranked 51st. I got to add some color to this thing, Mike. All right, UCF failed to cover the spread in 5 of its last 6 home games against conference opponents. UCF has looked like doo-doo the last 2 games. UCF can't tackle defensively, and the offense looks horrible because KJ Jefferson is struggling throwing the ball. Give me Cincinnati and then 3 points. Give me Cincinnati and 3 points. It's a gimme. I'll take it. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'm with you. I've gone on the other side of Cincinnati too many times this year and gotten burnt. So I'm with you. Give me the Cincinnati Bearcats with the points. Go down there and same thing. You know, these guys, this hurricane's coming in. Their minds are going to be on their families, making sure that they're all right. Cincinnati's going to go in, play good football, get out of there with a dub. So I'm with you, Dave.
All right. Next up, what you got, Mike? This is a big game here. This is a big, exciting game here.
Yeah, I like the Wildcats. I like Kansas State in this one. I think they're going to go to Boulder, and I don't think it's shocking the world. They're the favorites. They're ranked. I think this is a real defense that Colorado is going to be facing. They haven't faced one in a while. Same as the offense. Avery Johnson is going to give them problems. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 100 on the ground, you know, maybe 200, 300 through the air. I think Kansas State's going to handle him pretty good. So give me Kansas State to get it done here on the road here, Dave. What do you got?
So, Mike, I was there, and then the line moved up, and I started worrying a little bit about this one, Mike. You know, both teams are 4-1. KSU's only lost to BYU. We just talked about that, right? Wins against Oklahoma State, who's funky, and Arizona. The Buffs lost to Nebraska. Power 4 wins against UCF and Baylor. So KSU's only 2-3 against the spread. Colorado's 3-2 against the spread. I was feeling the same thing, Mike, and I kept reading and looking, and you know, Avery Johnson's stud. You know, I mean, he's doing a great job. I mean, he's throwing the ball, he's rushing the ball. We got that kid Giddens. I mean, he's 7.3 yards per carry, 604 yards. They're very balanced. So their offense is ranked 43rd. Their defense is ranked 47th. But then we look to the other side of the ball and know that Shadir Sanders can throw that rock. 16-30, 14 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. The running backs are coming along. 2 running backs averaging 4.9 points a game. The Buffs' defense is better this year. They rank 88th instead of in the hundreds. The offense is 62. Now, Colorado likes to air it out. The weakness of Colorado's defense is the pass defense. Okay? Now, KSU likes to run the ball. And Colorado's rush defense is not good. So, to me, when I started really looking at this thing, and I was a little worried when the line went up, it had been 3. I probably would have gone with Kansas State, Mike, but it went up. So I'm going to go the over in this game, thinking there's going to be some scoring here over this 56.5 points, Mike. I think that's got a chance at happening in this one. So I'm going over.
I think that's a good bet. Dave. All right, we got Iowa State taking on West Virginia in a Big 12 contest
so
here.
We're staying in the Big 12, right? So Iowa State undefeated at 5-0. West Virginia is like a damn roller coaster at 3-2. Iowa State beat Iowa, which is saying a lot. Beat Baylor, Houston, Arkansas State. West Virginia beat Oklahoma State, but kind of everybody has. And they beat Kansas, and they lost to Pitt, and they lost to Penn State. Iowa State is 4-1 against the spread. West Virginia 2-3. When I look at the quarterbacks, Iowa State quarterback 66%, 1173, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Iowa State's defense ranked 13th, pretty damn good. Offense 51st. If we go to West Virginia, we look at Green. He's only throwing at 58%, 1061, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They have 3 running backs over 300 yards, all averaging over 5.5 a game. So we know it's going to be that running offense, right? Their offense is ranked 38th, better than the offense there at ISU. However, their defense is 81st. West Virginia lost each of its last 7 games against AP-ranked teams. Wow. Iowa State's won 9 of its last 10 games against non-AP ranked teams. So you look at that and you go, damn, it should be Iowa State here without a doubt. But this one's going to be a gut, Mike. I'm saying they're going into West Virginia. And I think West Virginia is going to get an upset here, Mike. I think they're going to beat the undefeated Iowa State Cyclones. So I'll take West Virginia and give me the 3 points. What do you say?
I think your gut's rumbling from that Taco Bell you ate last night because it's wrong in this one, Gator Dave. Give me Iowa State on the money line. I think they're going to go into West Virginia, get it done. They're going to back that defense. That running game is going to carry them home. I think the under could be in a play here in this one as well, but I'm going to go with Iowa State. So, nice little head-to-head there.
All right, cool deal.
All right, moving on.
Big Ten. What you got, Mike? This is a big game here.
This is ugly. I don't know why you did this. Shout out to Evelyn in the chat. We see you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining in. This one's ugly, Dave. Washington at Iowa. I'm taking Iowa. I was torn on whether to go Iowa or the under here, but I'm taking Iowa at home. Jed Fish has 0-2 in his history in Kinnick Stadium as an assistant coach. He has not yet been there as a head coach, but he's 0-2 as an assistant. He has problems. Though in those games, the offense really struggled. He was an offensive assistant OC for Michigan. I think they won like 12 or lost. Actually, they lost both games. It was like 12-9, and the other one was another low-scoring game. I think it's going to be similar. I think Iowa's defense is going to back them. Washington's coming off a massive win that everybody, at the beginning of the season thought they were not going to stand a chance. No shot at the playoff. Now they're a couple games away from getting right back in this thing. If you look at their schedule, it lines up pretty good for them. They got like 4 or 5 top 25 teams in this last stretch. So if they can put something together, they could easily be right back in this conversation, even with the 2 losses that they have. However, they're going to get caught slipping. They're going to get caught looking ahead past old rinky-dink Iowa, who, everybody should run through, right? No, it's old school football in the trenches. They're going to offensive line looked great for Washington last week against Michigan. They got to back it up now with some more hogs in the trenches. Give me Iowa at home to get it done. Who you got, Dave?
All right, we're going to spend a little more time on these last 3 games there, Miguel. So, Washington, 4-2, Iowa 3-2. Huskies had the big win over Michigan last week, 27-17, but they're not favored in this game, Mike. They dominated Michigan, 429 yards to 287 against Michigan. They did lose to a Rutgers team, and I'm going to, yeah. But Huskies had 521 against Rutgers 299. So the couple of losses, Mike, if you dig into them, it was more or less some turnover issues, penalty issues. It wasn't the full-fledged head-to-head problems with those losses. Okay. Iowa is always tough at home. They did, however, lost to Ohio State by 28 last week. Granted, Washington's not Ohio State. Washington's 3-3 against the spread. Iowa's only 2-3. Will Rogers for Washington, 16-25, 74%, 12 touchdowns. Running back Coleman, 601, 6.3 yards, 5 TDs. Defense is ranked 8th. Offense ranked 21st. We look over the other side of the ball at Iowa, and defense is 25th. Offense is 90th. Washington's defense is surprising a lot of people, holding all 6 opponents under 25, and they haven't really faced any really great offenses, and they won't on Saturday because we know Iowa's got no offense. So I'm going against the odds here, and I'm going to take Washington, Mike, and I'm feeling really good about getting those 2.5 points and this head-to-head, and this one's – Mike, I'm going to call this one a Gator Day lock.
All right, 2 games left here. Next one, go ahead and take this one, Dave.
All right, we got Penn State minus 6.5 at USC. So they're traveling over to the left coast. Over-under's 50.5. So it's not going to be – it's not projected to be free-for-all there. So Penn State comes in 5-0. USC is only 3-2. The Nittany Lions, they beat UCLA by 16, Illinois by 14, West Virginia by 22. USC lost last week to Minnesota by 7. They lost to Michigan by 3. They beat Wisconsin and shouldn't have, and they beat LSU early. Penn State, however, is only 2-3 against the spread, Mike, and USC's 3-2. Drew Aller, 71%. 1,100 yards, 9 TDs, 1 interception. They got the running back combo that's badass. Singleton and Allen, 7.7 and 5 yards per carry. Penn State's defense is only ranked 4th in the nation, Mike. Offense ranked 22nd. So Miller Moss comes in, 65%, 1,400 yards, 9 TDs. Marks, a comparable runner, used to be over at Mississippi State. He is 5.8 yards per carry. Joyner at 7.9. Not too bad. Surprisingly, the USC defense, Mike, has improved dramatically this year. They are up to 34th in the nation, but they're about to play the big boys now. Offense is ranked 36th. So, Mike, the underdog has won 5 of USC's last 7 games. The home teams covered the spread in each of USC's last 4 games. I think the Nittany Lions are going to keep it rolling, and I think they're going to kick some butt here and cover that 4.5. At least they're going to get a touchdown, maybe 10 points over there on the left coast, Mike. So give me the Penn State Nittany Lions, sir. What say you?
Yep, I'm with you. I think it's going to be low scoring. I went back and forth between taking the under in this one or Penn State. I'm going to go Penn State. I just really hope it doesn't end up being like a 21-17 type of situation, because right now it's got that written all over it. But I'm with you. I think they go out there, they get it done. Nicholas Singleton has been hurt for them. He's supposed to be coming back healthy for this game, so that's going to be a big addition to Penn State's running game and their offense as a whole. I think they're going to be able to find some success against this Trojan defense. So, yes, give me Penn State. I'm with you.
Awesome. All right. let's tee up the last game there, Mike. One of the biggest games of the year is on the slate. What do you got?
You go ahead and take it, Dave. You go ahead and take it.
You think
Biggest game on the
so?
slate. You got it. You
It
got it.
is.
Bring it
It's the
home.
biggest.
Bring it
It's
home.
one of the biggest games that we've had besides the Georgia Alabama game. We got Ohio State at Oregon, basically number one, number two in the Big Ten, right? Ohio State is getting 3 points. I mean, favored by 3 at Oregon. Over under is only 53 points, so it's going to be supposed to be one of those ugly games, but pizza money game. Maybe it's one of those Alabama-Georgia games and ends up being a high scoring. Maybe. All right. Both teams come in this thing leading the Big Ten, both 5-0. Signature wins for Ohio State is Iowa, 35-7, and Michigan State at 38-7. Oregon beat Michigan State 31-10. They beat UCLA 34-10. They beat Boise State 37-34. Ohio State's only 3-2 against the spread. Mike, Oregon is only 1-4 against the spread this year. So everybody thought Oregon was going to come out and do all this damage, but I think what it is, it's just been a steady climb, getting our shit together for Oregon. Let's talk. So Will Howard for Ohio State, 72%, 1248, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Judkins is at 468, averaging 7.8 yards a carry and 5 TDs. Henderson, 334 yards, 8 yards per carry, 4 TDs. The defense is ranked number 1. The offense is ranked number 9, but they ain't played nobody except for Iowa. All right. Oregon comes in. Dylan Gabriel, 78%. The left-handed bandit, 1449, 11 TDs, 3 interceptions. Jordan James is at 552, 6.3 a carry and 5 TDs. Their defense ranked 10th. Offense ranked 25th. Not too bad. I think that home field advantage is going to be helpful for Oregon. They haven't been really super impressive against some of the lower competition this season, but I think they're going to be challenged. I think they're going to be ready for this one. And I believe, what's the coach's name? Is that Dan Lanning? Is that the ex-dog that's out there, right? I think he might be ready. Ohio State struggled in the first half against Iowa last week. But they've blown the doors off their last, the other clowns they played. Ohio State's failed to cover the spread in 7 of its 8 last games as the favorite against AP-ranked teams.
Damn.
Oregon is going to be a challenge. Defensive line, I think, is talented enough to slow that running game down, and the secondary is good enough to at least challenge 2 amazing wide receivers in Jeremiah Smith and Ajigba on the outside. Meanwhile, I think Oregon's offense is good enough to score points on Ohio State's defense. So, Ohio State just, it's going to be tight. But give me Oregon, and I'll take them 3 points. What do you think, Mike?
Yep, underdog at home, getting 3 points. I'm with you. I think Dylan Gabriel's they're gonna be able to do enough. My only thing with Oregon is they've had issues putting the ball in the end zone. They have no problem getting into the red zone. A lot of field goals for Oregon. So they got to finish drives, especially in this type of game. As long as they can finish drives, they shouldn't have any problem with Ohio State. So I'm with you. Give me Oregon in this one.
And this was the one game that I projected that Ohio State would lose when we talked about the numbers at the beginning of the year. So
yep.
I kind of had to go with this one. So
I feel you. All right. We got the
kinda
recap up here. I got Bowling Green. You got Northern Illinois. We're both on North Texas. We're both on Oregon State. We're both on Washington State. Both on Syracuse. I got Arizona. You got BYU at home. We're both on Cincinnati. I got Kansas State. You got the over in that game against Colorado. I got Iowa State money line. You got West Virginia in the points. I'm taking Iowa. You got the Huskies in the points. Looking for another upset there. Um, I got Penn State. You got Penn State. I got Oregon. You got Oregon in these bigger games of the day. Should be a good Saturday, Dave. Anything you want to say to the people before we sign off?
No, I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everyone being on, like, subscribing, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see if my Gators can limp up into Rocky Top and give them a battle. Kind of doubt it with our coach, but hopefully the boys are ready to play, and we see a lot of lagway. We see a lot of lagway. We might have somewhat of a shot to make it competitive. So we're going to leave it there, Mike. Appreciate everybody being on. Appreciate everybody watching. And again, shout out to the folks in Florida. It's going to be a rough night. It's going to be a rough few days and maybe weeks and months for the folks there on the west coast of Florida in that Tampa area. So prayers out to those guys, and appreciate everybody watching, and go Gators.